I read dark romance only for a week, and this is how it went. So the first book I'm reading is Does It Hurt by H.D Carlton, and I'm 10% in, and already, what am I reading? What am I actually reading? Like, I've heard that this book is dark, and I've heard that this book is weird in some ways. I've heard things about this book, but when you're actually reading it and experiencing it, and I'm only 10% in. And I also just want to point out, so far, is that the female main character has this weird, very weird obsession with her pinky toe. Like, why? Why is that needed? I just don't understand why. But I'm going to continue reading, and we'll see how this goes. Like, this can only go one way. Oh my gosh. I tried 7% in, and I've just read that scene that everyone talks about. You know, a scene that you hear about when people are talking about this book. I just read it. And what did I just read? Who in the right state of mind? I'm shook. And honestly, I don't know what to think about this book. I am so confused. I honestly don't know what to think. I don't know what to feel. And I just feel like it's just going to get darker and darker and just more weird. But that scene is crazy. I'm speechless. I'm going to continue reading, and we'll see how this goes. So I am now 50% in. I don't even know why I'm holding this, because I don't think it's worth. So I'm just going to put it down, because I'm having trouble with this right now, and I can't bother with it, but I hope you can still hear me. So, I'm 50% in, and honestly, I don't know what to think of this book, and I have no thoughts. I'm going to be completely honest. Like, I don't know if I love it, and I don't know if I hate it. All I know is that this is probably, like, the most weirdest book I've ever read. Like I said, I'm not hating. So my mic decided to stop working in this part of the video, but I was just saying that I didn't know if I loved or hated the book, but it was definitely the most craziest read I have ever read. I still don't know what to rate it, but I think I'm sitting on like a 3.5 star. And I liked the beginning and the end, but I thought the middle dragged on a little bit, and I found it quite boring, and that's when I kind of wanted it to hurry up a little bit. And I would recommend checking the trigger warnings, because this is a very dark book. Okay, so it's the next day, and I've tried to make it so there's a bit of light in here, but tried without the ring light, and the lighting was just terrible, and I don't know why. So, this is what we're working with, but I did end up finishing the book, and I don't even know what to say. I'm going to be so honest. I have no thoughts. But from what I do know, I had to write a few notes down. Not many, but just so I could like try and combine my thoughts a little bit. And let me just tell you that this book is wild. It's the most craziest book I think I've ever read. Ever. Let me just say, a lot happens in this book, but please note that it is really interesting, and it does grab your attention, especially like about halfway through. I did find it a little bit difficult to get into at the beginning. I was like, okay, I don't think this book is for me, but then I continued, and then it did get better and better, and I felt like it was something that I wasn't expecting happen, like plot. I kind of went into this book blind. I didn't even read the synopsis or anything. And all I heard about this book was about, you know, what you always hear about that scene. And that's the only thing I heard about it. So, like, I knew that was coming. I was expecting that. But everything else was a surprise to me. So, that is something that I did love. And I felt like it gave me a little bit of enjoyment in it, like not knowing. Let me just tell you, this book is dark. If you are thinking about reading, check the trigger warnings. I would recommend, but just check the trigger warnings if you're thinking about picking it up, because there are some very, very dark topics in this and some very hard topics discussed. So I would highly recommend check the trigger warnings before you pick this up. I didn't, which was a bad mistake, because many people have told me to. I just didn't listen, as usual. It's fine, but you know, it didn't bother me too much. But please look after your mental health. Please just look after yourself. It's not worth a book. Okay, so I'm 10% in, which obviously isn't far. But at the moment, I'm just finding this book really weird, really strange. And honestly, I'm not getting it much. I'm finding it really hard to like follow on with what's happening. Like, I'm getting the gist of the story, but this is also another one that I just don't know what to think. And I don't know how to feel about it, and I personally honestly, I'm not enjoying it so far, but I am only 10% in, so I don't know how to feel about it, but I am just confused, and I just don't know. Like, I've put this book down now to do this update, and just don't have that motivation back up, but I am going to, and it is very short, so I can definitely finish it tonight, because it's a short book. So that is what I'm going to do, I think. I'm just going to try and finish it up, because it's not looking good so far. So I finished it. And you know when I said Does It Hurt was like the strangest book I've ever read, the weirdest book I've ever read? Scrap that, because this has topped that a mile off. Honestly, what did I just read? I was so close to DNFing. I was like 30-ish% in. I was like, I can't do this anymore. And then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna push through. Most of it I did end up skimming, if I'm being completely honest, because I hated it. And I'm sorry to put it like that. It just was not for me. I just didn't enjoy the storyline. The characters was just too weird for me. I just didn't like anything about this book, personally. I just feel like this book was not for me. And that is okay. I'm not going to love every book. And, you know, I've got to accept that. I do try. So this is looking like a 1 star for me. Because, like I said, I was very close to DNFing it. But I just decided not to because obviously it was so short. But I feel like it would have been best if I did, to be honest. But I was also reading it for this video. So I felt like I had a reason to read it. It did make sense in the end. I just don't think it was for me. I just didn't care enough to understand it. So like from the beginning I was like really confused and everything, as I think you saw. But the further I got into it, it made sense. And as it started, I just didn't care for it. So yeah, that is that book. Like I said, don't think it's for me, and that's okay. I am going to be reading more of this author's books though, so no worries for that. But I am going to come back to this video in a couple of days time, because the next book I'm going to be reading is Butcher and Blackbird, but I'm not going to be reading that for a couple of days. So I'll be back with you in a couple of days. I read up to 54% of Butcher and Blackbird, and I'm really enjoying this so far. This is so enjoyable. I'm loving the banter. I love the characters, and you can kind of feel the chemistry between the characters, and like that they're meant to be. I love the fact that it's like a dark romance, but it's like a dark romance comedy. Like it is done in a comedy way, and I'm loving it so much. So I have started Haunting Adeline. I actually started it a few days ago, but the only problem is I don't know what I think of it so far. It's one of those things where like when I'm reading it, I'm finding it okay. Like I'm not loving it and I'm not hating it. I'm finding it okay. I don't know how to feel about it, but I'm finding it hard to pick it up, and I don't know if that's just because I'm not in the mood for it at the moment, or if it's the book itself. I do feel like I'm in like my dark romance era, hence why I did this video. So I just don't know. I don't know what to think. But I'm not going to talk much about it tonight because I'm so tired. So I might just talk about it more tomorrow when I have a bit more energy and everything. So yeah, I just wanted to let you know that I have started it. And I think I don't even know where I am in it. I want to say I'm about 20 or 30% in. I haven't picked it up in a few days. So I'm just going to leave it there because I'm tired. I feel like I'm talking nonsense, but I'll speak to you all tomorrow. So it's a few days later, and I actually forgot to do this update until just, but I did end up finishing Haunting Adeline, and I decided to rate it 4.25 stars. Originally, I did rate it 4.5. When I thought about it properly, I did end up giving it 4.25 star. I did really enjoy this, but I would definitely check the trigger warnings because there are a lot of triggering and dark things about this book. But it's an interesting one, let me just tell you. I'm going to talk more about it in my monthly wrap up, but for now I'm just going to keep it at that because I'm just wrapping it up because I'm about to edit this video because it's going up today. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.